Okay, now we have seen how exactly adaptive layout works. Now let's just see a small example on it. I'm going to create a new application. I'm going to call it my new adaptive layout. I'm going to go next and empty activity finish. So in this particular application, I'm going to create a UI for portrait mode, and I'm going to create a different UI for my landscape mode. So I would know that this is how my UI looks in portrait mode. When a user changes the configuration, my application will be adaptive to my my landscape mode UI. So how can I do that? Now before I do that, let me just put it the title as adaptive layout. And match parent. Okay, not match parent. Let's just increase the size to 30 sp. Now let me just create two buttons also, and put these two buttons somewhere like this. Okay, let me just give them a particular width. Let's say 200 dp, and put another button here. Right beside this, I want to put give it match parent, not height, but the width as match parent. Okay, now I want to make them equal, so let's just make it 180. Still not equal, so 170. How about 160? Right, now it looks equal, right? And let me just put a different background color also. Where's my background? You can see background hash 99cc00. So there you go. Now let's just run this application. Now when you run this application, this UI might not be exactly the same which you have designed there. Maybe it will be same for this particular portrait mode. Now let's just, if you change the screen size, or if you change the orientation itself, let's say I change the orientation. Can you see that? Now one button does, I mean, whatever you have defined, it's still there. It's still covering 160 dp and the match parent, but that's what you that's not what you really wanted. You want here that these two buttons should be covering exactly the same size and should be adapted to the different screen sizes also, right? And so how can you do something like that? Well, all you have to do is put a linear layout before that, linear layout here, and put it horizontally. Put a horizontal linear. Okay, before I do that, let me just delete these buttons. Let me just delete these buttons. And now I will put a linear layout, horizontal linear layout. And I don't want to go to properties. I don't want to cover match parent has height. Wrap content is good. Now I will put a button here. There you go. And button here will be wrap content. Not button here. Control. Now button here. If I see button, go to button. Button here is wrap content. Good. Now I will put another button here inside this. It's horizontal. So now you see both the buttons automatically occupies the same spaces, I mean equal spaces. Why? Because there is an attribute known as layout width. This will only work with linear layout, and both the buttons have one weight. If you put 2, now you will see that the first one will take more space. So it's just like percentage wise in your CSS files which you design for web. So 1 and 1 will make sure it covers the same space. So if you run it now, so if you change the orientation, see, doesn't really matter which screen size you are in, it will have the same exact size of your buttons. Now this was something called adaptive. It can be adapted to the screen size and all. But let's say I want to design, when you change the configuration, I totally want to show you a completely different UI design, not as your portrait mode. So how can I do that? For that, in your res, in your layout, you can directly, in your res folder, just right click on your res folder, go to new and click on Android resource directory and select the layout from here and call it Android land. And you won't be seeing it here, but you go to packages from here. There you go. This is your layout underscore land, and whatever the layout you put here, UI design or layout file you put here, that will be in your landscape mode. Now, as of right now, you want the same layout, the same UI XML file to be shown in your landscape mode. So you just copy the same file. If you change the name of file, it will be treated as a different file, a completely different XML file. But you don't want a complete different XML file. You want the same file, but different UI in your XML. So now you have two XML file, one in portrait, one in land. So if you go back to your Android, you can see in the land, there is a folder of this activity underscore main. This is for portrait mode, and this is for landscape mode. You can go to the design. This is how your application looks like in your landscape mode. You can change the UI of your this application now. In the landscape, how your application looks like in landscape, you can change it from here now. Just whatever the design you want. You want to change the background screen, that also you can change. Let's say. So it's totally up to you how exactly you want your landscape mode screen to be, or how exactly you want your lean portrait mode to be. Now make sure that whenever you are handling these two, accordingly you will be handling here. I mean, both the screen does have the name activity underscore main, but in one you don't have button. In second you don't have three button. In second you have three buttons. Like in portrait you only have two. In activity you have three. So accordingly you cannot if you are you have to provide the code dynamically, that if you are using portrait mode, then you won't be able to use your button. You won't be able to use your third button, but in landscape mode you will be able to. So let's just see how it goes. So if I change, the landscape mode UI will be coming up. Come back here again, the portrait mode UI will be coming up. So that's how you design the portrait mode and the landscape mode designs in the adaptive layout. Thank you.